armies from Prussia and Austria joined the crusade. In 1814, with the Tsar himself in command, the Allied forces swept across Europe to the gates of Paris. For 25 years, France had endured revolution and endless war. Paris was ready for an end to chaos. Alexander entered Paris in triumph.
This is actually the culmination of the 18th century in Russia. For the entire 18th century, Russia had been drawing itself closer and closer to Europe, trying to prove that it was an equal partner in the family of Europe. And now, here was the Russian Tsar leading the Allied troops from all of Europe to unseat the evil usurper.
But in the cradle of the revolution, Russia's elite guardsmen saw the power of liberal politics in action.
The ideas that these Russian soldiers picked up were ideas of a constitutional monarchy, not an absolutist monarchy. The idea that civil and political rights was something that all people should enjoy. The idea that equality before the law should be, and indeed a regime based on rule by law, should be the foundation for any modern state.
On their return to Russia, many young officers who had ridden with Alexander into Paris remained inflamed with ideas of liberty and reform. They met in secret and plotted the unthinkable, a constitution for absolutist Tsarist Russia. The would-be revolutionaries had no confidence the Tsar would lead the way. Alexander had abandoned liberal ideas too often before. Tsar Alexander, though well aware of the rising fever for reform, instead withdrew into religious mysticism. In 1825, by the shores of the Black Sea, the emperor died. Childless himself, the Tsar had left the throne to his younger brother, Nicholas.
Nicholas was 19 years Alexander's junior. So while Alexander I was a child of the Enlightenment, Nicholas I was not. Nicholas I grew up in an atmosphere of hostility to revolution and of breaking revolution wherever one might spot it.
But the succession from Alexander to Nicholas had been a strictly kept secret. The Tsar-to-be hesitated to take the throne.
None of this had been publicly established, so there was a sort of interregnum of a few days, and the conspirators took advantage of this to try to achieve the overthrow of the absolute monarchy.
With the succession in turmoil, the radicals knew they might never have a better chance. December 14, 1825. Nicholas ordered Russia's elite to swear allegiance to his reign. Rebel officers, the Decembrists, gathered in St. Petersburg's Senate Square. They began to chant for a new form of rule, a constitution. By noon, 700 rebels waited in the square. Troops loyal to Nicholas surrounded them. Then the Tsar-to-be rode into view. Absolute rule or a constitution? For a moment, Russia's fate hung in the balance. Then Nicholas opened fire. The Decembrist rebellion and the dream of sweeping political change collapsed in chaos. The Tsar still reigned supreme. Nicholas I had preserved the Romanov dynasty. The Russian Empire was now acknowledged as the most powerful nation on earth. But 100 years of revolution had just begun.